Okay, so we just passed the 2,000 point. Justin was on his way out. He's headed back towards the portal. That way. He's going to check out that miner's graffiti that I found. He didn't see that. He said this goes another 890 feet. And there's a fissure, I think he said, with a bunch of water coming out of it. And there's a pipe as well. So here we are, 2,100 feet in. If you listen carefully, you can hear water dripping, or a lot of water falling down there. I don't know if that's coming out in the video. Take a listen. There's a valve of some sort. Still has a handle on it, and part of the wiring. Just like up there. Okay, so here's a kind of a hazard in flooded abandoned mines. You see the water here? So these timbers are pretty much waterlogged and pretty much soaked, and these can eat up oxygen. And I think Justin said his oxygen meter went off when he was around these timbers. Mine hasn't gone off, but might not be as sensitive as his, but yeah, it's a real hazard. You need to have an oxygen meter, as well as a hydrogen sulfide gas detector as well. Because these flooded mines, that can be a real problem. So yeah, here's where the water's coming out. It's like a waterfall. Kind of like something you'd see on a log flume ride at an amusement park, where you pass under the water and then it suddenly shuts off while your log, goes underneath it. So I bet that's where the bulk of the water's coming from. It's flooding this tunnel. So there's Justin. I'm now on the other side of this waterfall, looking back towards the entrance. You can see, it's just coming out of the rock. I'm going to drink some of that on the way out. I bet it's really clean water. But we'll keep going down the rest of the tunnel. Hopefully my camera won't fog up again. Looks like it's kind of misty down here. But see how the water is always flowing out of the mine? That's a good sign. It's the stagnant water, like what's in between the tracks here you want to avoid. As long as the water's flowing, that means it's pretty much not stagnant, and it's circulating, and therefore dangerous gases can't develop that get released when you walk through it. Well, here's another collapse that came from right up in there, and it made another dam. Water's coming around this one side of the dam, but there's more water falling back here. I can hear it. Take a listen. So, hopefully this isn't 3 feet deep. I don't think it is. Let's go check it out. Okay, I think I see the source of the water. There's a more modern plastic or rubber hose coming out of the side of the mine shaft here, and that may be where the water's coming from. Wow. So this means they must have tapped into an underground spring and therefore decided to use the water by putting these pipes and valves in here. But yeah, that's probably what happened. If you watch my video of the bimetallic mine that I shot several years ago, that had the same thing in it, I believe. Okay, you're hearing my oxygen meter going off. And the reading is still pretty good. That's because we're approaching the face of the mine, the end of the tunnel. And there's just not a lot of air circulation back here for obvious reasons. Well, here is the face of the mine, what the miners call the face. That was the end of the tunnel. And this one's got a pipe with water coming out of it. Isn't that amazing? And water here. So that's the end. Okay, headed back towards the portal. Got to catch up with Justin. You can see his light way up there. I just tasted some of that water coming out of the pipe. And again, it's not very cold for some reason. And tasted pretty clean to me. Didn't have a mineral taste or anything like that. So probably pretty good water. Too bad it can't be bottled. So here's the collapse where I started filming as I was making my way into the mine. I couldn't film the first part because my camera fogged up. By the way, right here on the wall, a miner wrote, "Best water in the hill," I guess. And I tasted it back there. It tasted pretty good to me. So yeah, we're heading back towards the portal. And there was some cool stuff that we saw coming on the way in. I'll try to show you that. Like I said, I couldn't film coming in because my camera fogged up. With all this water, this mine is really humid. There was actually a piece of dynamite sticking out of one of the blasting holes, and the fuse cord still attached to it. So right here, the miners circled at one of the blasting holes they drilled because there's a piece of dynamite still in there. You can see the fuse cord right there, and then the dynamite. Well, it's hard to see, but don't know if that's coming out in the video, but there's a piece of dynamite up in there. That's why they circled that. So here's some kind of a bulkhead or dam they built. For some reason, we don't know why. And then the water is draining through this opening on the right side and headed out towards the portal, which is that way. So here in the tunnel is a track switch. There's where the tracks make a split, and they go down there just to a dead end that kind of wraps around there, the branching tracks, and the main tunnel is this way. And you can see the switch here. The switch is still in place, which is really rare. I think the lever's missing maybe, or maybe not. But there it is, a track switch. Really don't see those very much in these mines. They're usually ripped out. So there's the main tunnel tracks, and then right here you can see a siding that came off and came right up here. This was so the ore carts could pass each other when one was coming out and one was going in. So there's the siding. Pretty cool. You don't see these too often in mines, only in bigger mines like this one. That's a good shot there showing the tracks and all the debris and whatnot. Well, we're back at the portal. We're going to return to a snowy winter wonderland. You can sort of see fog coming off the water. I don't know if it's coming out in the video, but yeah, it's... Oh yeah, right here, right inside the entrance was this fault. See on the right, this smooth fault line. Yep, guess that's a fault line, I guess. And there's the entrance. So right inside the portal is this greenish colored rock. What'd you say this was? Copper infused quartz?
Oh, it looks like there's algae growing inside of it.
Oh, algae
It
infused
doesn't
quartz.
quite look like it's fluorite.
And then there's these hairs, some kind of growth or fungus. But yeah, it's really green all through there. So anyway, that's something. And that's where we just were.
Yeah, because it comes off. It's algae.
So as we're approaching this abandoned mine, there's this huge tree. But what's unusual about it is it's got a rock. It grew around a big boulder. See that? Check that out. That's a pretty big tree too. Goes way up there.